and we have arrived at the mid-season finale of How We Bounce Back. We will be taking a few weeks off during the summer, and we will return in mid-August for the final few episodes of Season 2. But for tonight's mid-season finale, we have a well-respected marketing professional and brand strategist across travel, sports, music, and film. I'm going to have to take a deep breath as we run through this long list of accomplishments. He was formerly a director of global sponsorships and brand partnerships at Brand USA. He was instrumental in launching the National Parks Adventure, America's Musical Journey, and America's Wild in partnership with McGilvery Freeman, and traveled to every continent, including Mars, to promote the film. He was a big part of the NFL UK and Go USA TV sponsorship for NFL games in London. He represented many brand partnerships and major events, including multiple Super Bowls, the People's Choice Award, the ESPYs, Rio 2016 Olympics, and many travel trade shows that we absolutely lost count. He's got his MBA at Georgetown University and the senior product manager for Amazon Alexa. He's got Aloe Black, Barack Obama, Chris Thompson, all on speed dial. But I think they got James Namude on speed dial too. He's none other than James Namude. What's going on, man? Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. How's it been?
Received.
Gotta hit you like Michael Buffer real quick by the box with Mike Tyson.
Oh, man. No, thanks for having me, man. I'm super excited to be on your podcast. And like I talked about earlier, I'm super proud of everything you've done since Brand USA, man. You've been a man with a plan, shifting from accounting to taking over marketing and kind of what you've done. It's been an inspiration, to say the least. James. So
amazing.
Super excited.
Like the rundown, like your intro, like your accomplishments. We just striving to be like you. Appreciate, bro. That means a lot. Now, I know we usually start the episode with light-hearted questions, but let's get straight into talking about you as a seasoned marketing professional. The folks tuning into this episode likely know you from your time in the travel industry. Can you share with the audience what you're currently doing right now?
Yeah. So I'm currently the senior product marketing manager on the Alexa marketing team. I oversee marketing for our smart audio glasses product, Echo Frames. Echo Frames are essentially Alexa-enabled smart audio glasses that allow the user to take that magical Alexa experience that they know and love in the home with them on the go, whether it's listening to personal audio entertainment, staying productive, staying connected. It allows them to kind of take all those fun features with them in a stylish form factor, as you can tell by shades I got on right now.
And discount for people that used to work at Brand USA, free 99. So, hit up Jay Namude on Instagram right quick. All right. Well, prior to Amazon, you worked at Brand USA, and that's where we met. That's where most of us, met you and all of the people, stakeholders that you work with across the world, to be honest, to be quite frank. And so you had a unique role in brand strategy, activation, sponsorship, and like I said, literally in a new city every week representing the company. Can you describe to the audience what you did specifically during your time at Brand USA? I know I described it. Maybe people working outside of marketing might not know what it means, but can you describe what you specifically did during your time there?
Yeah, sure. So I was at Brand USA for 8.5 years. So it's the majority of my post-college career. I joined in March of 2012 when the organization was still brand new. I think I was full-time employee number 14 at the organization. So it was real early. I was part of the team kind of tasked with building and developing the brand from the ground up, including a positioning strategy, our branding strategy, as well as managing some of our first paid media and advertising campaigns around the world. It was a super exciting initiative for me, knowing that the organization was founded by President Barack Obama with the mission of promoting the United States as a travel destination around the world. To inspire international visitation and spend, which in turn was generating economic growth and creating jobs in America. So it's a fantastic mission for me to be a part of. So I was in my first role for about 4 years on the consumer marketing side before I was promoted to oversee a new vertical at the organization, which is around global sponsorships and brand partnerships. And essentially what those were initiatives that would leverage some of our strongest value propositions as a travel destination to inspire people. And it typically fell into two categories. The first is our diversity. So that's people, places, experiences things that the U.S. really has at scale that you don't find in many other places around the world. And then the other was pop culture. So before Brand USA or tourism boards, really, most of the world kind of learned about and fell in love with the United States through what they saw in movies, music, sports, television. So I worked to create platforms and programs that leveraged all the goodwill that we built up in some of those areas to inspire people to want to have a piece of those experiences for themselves. Which is where some of the partnerships and initiatives that we did around our IMAX films, our Go USA TV streaming platforms, some of the work we did with the NFL around the NFL UK and the International London Games, kind of spreading kind of a little slice of America around the world to inspire people to come over and have the real thing here in the United States.
Wow. And you're a true ambassador of not only the company but the country. And like again, like you were describing, our biggest export is like, our media. It's like, our pop culture. It's like, what we have to offer from an entertainment standpoint, either in sports, film, music, especially, right? But I think the most important thing you said out of everything is the diversity that this country has to offer. Is we know that this is obviously the land of opportunity for a lot of other people that want to immigrate to the United States, but others they don't that are in a more developed country, they don't realize also like sort of the experiences that the U.S. has to offer. You definitely have shown that through all of the activation events that you've been through. I know you were in London, China. I think you've been to Australia too, India for sure. Yeah, this is me trying to think about all the pictures on Instagram right now. But you know how it is, man. Like again, you're an ambassador for it. The diversity of this country is a gift, and I think that of course has to get better, and it's only going to get better. And once this once this COVID pandemic ceases and is eradicated, and once we get back to normal, I definitely can see America, as it always does, rebound especially from the tourism side. And just everyone can just celebrate and travel the world. Travel is a very how would I say it? It's a very big thing for someone in life to really discover and find peace and feel accomplishment. And it's like you say, if you find a peace in an experience, you feel like you lived that. It's kind of like checking something off the bucket list. America has all of that, and like you said, like I feel like you're already doing that in your role, but you're showing that it can be done for all the travelers out here. So amazing! You had amazing role at Brand USA, bro. Like it's.
It was a great experience. I mean, I feel very blessed to have found it to begin with, like I said, and be able to be at the organization very early and seeing how it's evolved over the years and kind of grown the organization and the impact it's had in people's lives across the country within the industry. I think it was an amazing experience. It's really a long way to put it.
Yeah. Agency certainly did grow. We had Concur. We can get rid of them paper invoices. We got any bill now, right?
Yeah.
Agency had definitely grown. We broke the wall down. We got the other side of the office, and then we made our office state of the art glass meeting rooms. We came up from a law office, so we moving up in the world over there at Brand USA.
It's crazy, man. You think about the early days. Yeah, it was a true startup. It's like one
Hey, no one can ever forget the chips, all right? The chips. No one can never take away our chips, all right?
Who took the chips away
now? We got them back. Shout out to you, Chris Thompson, all right? Oh, man.
Definitely some good times.
Good times for sure. But anyways, I do want to touch on, aside from the amazing role you had there, was there any times you did feel adversity? Again, it was a growing agency. There was a lot of stages of how it developed. And then, personally, it was a lot of growth for you. So was there any times you felt adversity or maybe backed up against the wall? And essentially with what the show is, like, how did you bounce back from that situation?
I mean, like I said earlier, when I joined the organization, it was a true startup. The Travel Promotion Act had created us as an organization, and we were trying to figure out ways to continue to scale. And part of being a startup of this kind is that you're navigating a lot of uncharted waters and dealing with challenges that you may not even know exist until they arise. So I think the big challenge is how do we grow the organization and continue to scale and really achieve our mandate. Because I think leading up to our creation, a lot of people had spent a lot of time trying to create an organization like ours to really represent the country and the travel industry as a whole. So there was a lot riding on our success over the years, and I think we were able to do that and really scale and turn the company into one of the best destination marketing organizations in the world. So I think in terms of how you handle the adversity, you just gotta handle issues as they come. You gotta know you can't control the future, and as each one comes up, you need to um, figure out how to be solution oriented. It was one of those things where, like I said, I was full time employee number 14, and then we grew to maybe an organization of 100 people. So it's literally all hands on deck. So everything from taking the trash out to the highest
Yeah.
level strategy that you can think of. So we're able to meet some of those challenges and really survive and thrive over the years. In terms of the biggest challenge I've seen to date, I mean, it's one that we've all been dealing with for the last year. Last March, when everything exploded around COVID, um, the travel industry essentially came to a screeching halt, and all our lives are impacted in a way that none of us ever anticipated would happen. Um, a lot of people lost their jobs within the travel industry. A lot of organizations that depend on the industry for survival were going through some tough times. Um, but the organization was able to persevere. I think we were able to pivot quickly and focus on what we could do in the moment. Right. First and foremost, we need to make sure that we're keeping the industry, or we kept the industry informed of everything that was happening. Because above all, safety was number one. Making sure that people are safe and aware of what was happening,
Yeah.
and then building a plan for recovery. Because at some point, things will improve and travel will open up. So doing what we can at the time to build a plan and strategy to be able to lead that charge um, was important. And I think at the time when I left the organization, a lot of that work is being done, and a lot of preparations are being put in place. So rather than just sitting back and watching what was happening, taking an active role and finding ways to build a plan for the now as well as for the later was important.
To the beginning of your response, there's really no blueprint of a travel marketing destination created for the United States. You know, the government funds or ESSA funds from the fees collected, right, from travelers. You know, and then what we're gonna do with the money, and then obviously we have the political divisiveness at the time of like, oh, is this worth the while? And so
Hmm.
you're probably thrown into a situation like, well, there's no one else that's done this before, so we're just working with what we got, right? You know, obviously that Brand USA office was like a law office that was like purchased half the side of the floor, and like, you know, you're kind of just given you have a bunch of folks that are experienced on the travel marketing side, and then I know you're coming from the you know, the branding side. I believe with BET prior to Brand USA, but you're over here just like, okay, well, let's work with what we got. And so you guys are very reactive to all of and like, you know, we tend to be proactive, but in these situations, like, how can you be proactive? Like, there's
Yeah,
no form or blueprint to this, so we got to
yeah.
just be reactive and like take it all in stride and not harp on like any of the mistakes, learn from them. And I feel like that's what we continue to do every time. I was definitely in there in some of those
Oh
middle
yeah.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, it was like you said, there was no playbook, right? We were a public-private partnership around travel with a business model that was unique within DC or
right.
within the country. So yeah, there's a lot of test and learning, and kind of growing that happened in those early days, and it was great to kind of see the organization evolve from that startup to what it is today. I'm actually
Right.
excited of where it has to go in the future. 'Cause I think the opportunity coming out of COVID, Brand USA has an opportunity to play a central role in the recovery of the economy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the return of some of those jobs.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, like Brand USA working through all of the growth stages, you know, figure things out. It kind of preps all of the leadership there for what's been happening in the last year, like you said. You know, it's like obviously, like no one's ever seen the pandemic really in our lifetimes, since like the Spanish flu, like over 100 years ago. And so, but in terms of like Brand USA's shield and armor being ready to be reactive to all of these changes, like never before, I'm sure that, like you said, the whole agency, that we still have folks that work there that we know and love, are ready for this recovery and to literally bounce back. Sorry, I had to add that in there. So yeah.
Love it.
James, let's dial down some of the career questions, but I definitely want to ask you about sports. We're sports guys. Definitely the talk of the town when we're all talking at work. In between meetings with the Contis of the world, the Aarons of the world, the Brooks of the world, even the Giselles of the world, all talking about sports, right? So, you're a DC resident, spent all young adulthood in the nation's capital. I want to ask you, you've been through so many crazy sports moments in DC, your time in DC. What's your favorite sports moment in DC of the last 10 years?
I'll probably have two of them. So
Go ahead.
Was the World Series and the Stanley Cup.
When we hang banners.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. We have won a lot of championships in my time in DC. So those two definitely got to be the top. I think we've been a sports town that's been hungry for a championship. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the Washington Wizards. Is my favorite kind of local sports team. Haven't won any NBA titles. We've had good teams over the years, but we haven't hung any banners since
It's hard when the All-Stars all go on the same team over there in the Bay Area. But
exactly. We had some hope a few years ago that KD was going to come home, but
this guy, KD, born and bred in DC, and this is what he does to us.
Part of the KD to DC fan club. That never.
I definitely was looking at the shirts to buy at some point. Hashtag KD to DC.
Exactly. So it didn't come to fruition. But the Stanley Cup and the World Series. I was actually able to go to one of the World Series games, so it's kind of one of my bucket list items that I wanted to check off, and I didn't have to hop on a flight to go to one. So it's good every time it's your home team and you get to see them in person. So I think those were probably my two favorite moments. The city just came alive during both those times. I mean, the atmosphere, the excitement. It's something that a lot of cities like New York or even Miami during the LeBron years, or San Francisco during the Warriors. LA has had a run lately. They win titles more periodically. But DC, the only title before all of this that I can remember was the 2002 the Terps when they won the NCAA tournament with Juan Dixon and the crew. That was my previous favorite sports moment in the DC area.
Okay, Juan Dixon. All right, former Wizard. We might want to add that.
Yeah. Juan Dixon, Steve Blake, got to shout him out too. That was the
squad. Wow. Well, first of all, all of those sports moments, like what was that? 2018 with the Caps, and then 2019 with the Nats. That's back-to-back years right there.
Yeah. I was telling people we're Title Town now.
Title Town. Yeah.
Don't forget the Washington Mystics, WNBA. Okay. So we win titles now. It's up to the Wizards and Washington Football Club to take care of the rest.
Yeah. With football, we just lose our own mascot name.
Actually, no. I just remember another sports moment. I believe this was 2012. Whenever they had the NBA lockout year, when the league was shut down and all the pro players were playing summer league games. So over in Trinity University in Northeast, they had the DC Goodman League, which is kind of the streetball league here in DC, played a game versus the the Drew League. So we had on the DC squad, we had KD, John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins.
I had no idea this happened. Wow.
We went up against LA with James Harden and a full squad of NBA All-Stars essentially, Nick Young, and they were playing in what was basically a high school gym. These were
I know about the Drew League out here. Yeah, it's raw basketball right here, and literally better than an All-Star game sometimes.
So it's like an All-Star game in a DC gym in Northeast. So that was a pretty good moment in sports, locally at least.
And I wasn't even there for any of this. So I'm envious of you, James Namude. All right. Well, James, before we dive into the deeper questions, let's play a game of picture association. So I'm going to put 8 pictures of other people up on this screen, and in just one short sentence, describe what each person means to you. And for those listening in via podcast, I'm also going to say these people's names out loud.
Okay.
Number 1, we got Hova at the Grammys.
No, man, Jay-Z, man, he's one of the greatest of all time. Not only in hip hop, but in business in general. Right, this guy started out as a rapper and has really turned himself into a business. Right, what's the line? Right, it's not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Like, he's literally built an empire, and has built the playbook and vision for up and coming artists across all areas. Right, you can really say that people within hip hop, but even sports, like the LeBron Jameses of the world or KDs of the world, they look up to a guy like Jay-Z that's built a vision and a path for what is possible within all these sectors of culture.
Yeah, absolute mogul for sure. I thought you were gonna bring up the Watch the Throne tour, but maybe you
got that's the one. I missed that one in DC.
I hear it. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I've been waiting for Watch the Throne 2, but that never came. So
okay, yeah. Well, at some point soon, man. When he makes reconciliation with some of the people out here. All right, moving on to the next one. Your boss, Jeff Bezos at Amazon.
No, I mean, the guy's is a visionary, right? He's literally built a company from scratch into one of the biggest organizations of all time, and growing.
All time, absolutely.
Yeah. He's also the richest guy in the world too.
Oh yeah. Even with a settlement, with his, it's still richest, and then second richest is his ex-wife. Crazy. Yeah, he knows what he's doing for sure. Yeah. A leader in politics, Stacey Abrams.
Oh, what do I say about her? She's an icon. Like, we talk about playbooks. She's built a playbook that could shape the future of politics in the United States, around the country. What she pulled off in Georgia is the reason why we are where we are today. She won that election for the Democrats and for Joe Biden. And it's going to have ramifications down the line. I feel like she's going to replicate it in other places or around the country. And people are going to take that playbook and run with it.
Absolutely.
So she's definitely an icon and someone I feel like deserves more credit than she gets a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully she continues to get more engaged in politics. And who knows, down the line, we may see her at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in the White House.
Yeah. She should absolutely not stop. Yeah, and definitely uncovered a lot of the voter suppressed areas, and so she's longer future ahead for sure. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest of all time, the king, LeBron James.
So LeBron James, man, like you said, he is the second best NBA player.
Hey, he be watching too much Last Dance over there on Netflix last year.
He's the greatest we've seen since Michael Jordan. Best player in the world, at least of our generation, since MJ left. But he's also as amazing off the court as he is on the court. The stuff that he's done in the community, not only in his hometown of Akron and the state of Ohio, but around the country in regards to social justice issues. And he's taken a lot of stances on a lot of issues where in the past people in the limelight have hesitated to put their voice in some of those areas. And I think he has done that. Oftentimes I feel like he gets criticized for basketball-focused things that are just ridiculous sometimes, right? Like, sometimes people just have a hard time appreciating greatness until it's not here anymore, right? They're going to wait till he retired to be like, wow, we just witnessed one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Yeah.
Over the last, feels like 40 years, right? The guy's been playing basketball, feels like as far as I can remember. So he's definitely one of the greatest, right? I put him in that same class with Jay-Z in terms of what they're doing for not only their industry, but their community as well.
Absolutely. Well said. Your friend, Aloe Black.
Aloe, man, he's one of the most talented people in show business, right? I spent a lot of time with him over the last few years, and this guy works hard, he grinds, and he is talented. We talked about kind of careers and kind of pursuing your goals. I mean, this guy was a management consultant not too long ago, like before he lost his job and decided to jump into this music thing with both feet full time, and has really built a great career for himself in the industry. The song he did with Avicii is one of the most iconic songs that we've had in the last 20 years. And the guy's just a genuine nice guy, man. He's a great guy to hang out with. He's a family focused guy. He's just an overall good dude. Anybody that's in brand partnerships or marketing in general, I mean, those are the type of artists that you like to partner with and work with, that you feel really are engaged in the product and are authentic in the way they work.
Nice. Well, next time you guys have a night out to play cards, I hope I get the invite. I want to be my friend too.
Sure, for sure. We'll do it in LA.
Yep. Our dearest friend, Blanca Romero.
Blanca, one of my most favorite people in the world. Blanca is amazing. So my wife actually met Blanca before I did, before coming to Brand USA.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. So my wife had an internship at an advertising agency in the area called Arnold Worldwide. They were part of the Habits Group. And she was working on the McDonald's account, and Blanca was part of the agency team. And every day, my wife would talk about Blanca, like Blanca did this, Blanca is so amazing. You have to meet Blanca. And we never got a chance to meet during the internship. There was one time when we came close, but I think I was running late because I was at a meeting, and then by the time I got there, she already dropped her Sierra off. So I remember coming in for my interview at Brand USA, and I'm sitting in the couches. Remember how the old office is laid out? I'm sitting in the couches, and then I see this woman at the desk staring at me, and she runs up to me, and she's like, "Are you James?" And I'm looking at her, I'm like, "Are you Blanca?" But we had like a big moment. Like at that time, we finally got to meet each other.
Oh, wow.
She's literally like the nicest person in the world. I think everybody that meets her would feel the same way.
Absolutely.
So, huge fan of her.
Dear friend, feels like our office mother, feels like someone we always look up to. And like, if we're having a bad day, we go to Blanca's office, we'll just be there in the corner just to vent, and she'll be always listening. Yeah. And when she needs us, we got her too. It's always like, that's an unwritten rule. Like, you go help Blanca right now. So
100%.
Yeah. Your former mentor, Tom Garzilli.
My God, Tom Garzilli. No, he was great. Like I said, when I moved to work on global sponsorships and brand partnerships, that was a vertical that he started and he built from the ground up. It was the projects that we were working on was something that Brand USA hadn't done before and hadn't been done within the travel industry, period. When I first heard like we were gonna make an IMAX film, I'm like, IMAX film, like you're talking like Batman or a Marvel type IMAX film. It was insane. But he had a plan and a vision, and that first film, National Parks Adventure, was probably the biggest project I worked on at Brand USA, and that ended up being the highest grossing documentary film in the world that year, and really transformed our idea at Brand USA in terms of what is possible from a marketing standpoint. So he was definitely a great help and a great mentor in my role at Brand USA, and a relationship that I'll keep going in my post-Brand USA career as well.
Definitely both innovated the way things were done. Yeah, like you said, from a marketing standpoint, and really to leading the charge on what we didn't think can be possible to being the biggest thing over there is just absolutely something that all of us, me as a former employee over there, all admire. on the company and that you two led. So it's amazing stuff. And then lastly, your wife, Ciara.
Yes. All that stuff that you were listing out at the beginning, it's more her than me. So she's been my rock through everything. We've been together since 2006, which is pretty crazy. We're 2022, like we're coming up on 16 years. So
wow.
Yeah, it's been amazing. No, she's, like I said, she's been my rock. She's the love of my life. We've been through everything, through college together, post college together. We spent a lot more time together the last year post COVID as we've been quarantined. So she's dealt with my craziness and all the travel schedules over the years and so forth. So, like I said, she deserves credit for most of the achievements that you listed out prior. Because if it wasn't for her.
All right, James, let's get back into the career-related questions. What does your overall career mean to you? Is it just a means of an income to have fun in your social life, or is it your passion, or is it both?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think it's a combination of both. On one hand, if you look at kind of how we spend our daily life, at least 50% of our time is spent in the office. Even post COVID, working remotely at home, a good amount of our day is spent working. I mean, personally, if that much of my life is going to be dedicated to something, it needs to be something that I'm passionate about and believe in, and I feel it's fulfilling. So I think it's definitely a priority that somebody is passionate about it. And kind of the roles that I've had, both at Brand USA and at Amazon, I've been lucky enough to hold roles that kind of fit within that category. Yeah. But the other side of the coin is also true, right? Work is only a part of our life. It is a means to an income also to allow us to invest in other areas of our life, whether it's building the life that we want for our family, or hanging out with friends and family, whether it's going out, dining, traveling, really creating those moments that are priceless. That really you can't replace. And then the other side of it too is it also allows you to invest in other areas of passion beyond work. To me personally, I want to be able to give back to my community and help those that are less fortunate. And having an income through work allows me to be able to do that a little bit more. So I definitely think it's a combination of both of those.
I definitely love how you mentioned, like, definitely want to lose sight of the moments with family, even though we're, especially in a society like America where it's so driven to work, and like, focus on your career, focus on dreams and goals. Never want to lose sight and cherish those moments definitely want to cherish those moments with family, especially because we need an income to go do the things that we want to do, the fun times with our family, because we'll never get them back. We'll never get them back, right? And so, what is it to like celebrate a career when there's no one else around you that you're close with friends and family? You definitely want all of us to be a part of this journey together. And then I think also what you mentioned from the philanthropic side and giving back to the community, it's ever more so pressing, especially with everything that's going on from a social justice standpoint, and also with COVID and unemployment and a lot of communities just struggling. There's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done, and it always needs to be a lot of work done. But the time is now, and I feel like especially you being so local in DC for such a long time, which communities to really have a positive impact on. And I think they'll definitely don't want to unveil anything in your mind that you have ideas on what you want to do. I'm sure you will present it to us when the time comes right. But glad that you have that in mind to look out for other people as well around your home.
Yeah, especially me. I mean, like I said, I'm a first generation American. Right, I was born in Kampala, Uganda, and I've seen my parents were basically born in a village in rural Uganda, and kind of how far they've come, and kind of how people back home are affected by things like COVID. Like I know in the U.S. we have certain resources like stimulus checks and other kind of people investing.
Yep.
In a lot of places around the world, they don't have those type of resources. So,
yes.
When stuff shuts down, a lot of times people are left on their own.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be important being able to do what I can and kind of what we can to be able to help some of those communities kind of rebound and recover in the long term.
My next question to you, James, what impact do you think your career has, and maybe ties with some of the response in your last question or your last answer? What impact do you think your career has on helping other people? Where do you see this going 10 years from now?
So on the Brand USA side, obviously we talked about kind of what we were doing and kind of what the mission was and the impact that it was having on the economy and creating jobs. That was very important to me in that role, to see that what we're doing was actually moving the needle and having impact in that area. Um, at Amazon, one of the reasons I chose to come to Amazon was to be able to work on projects and initiatives uh, that were really transforming the way society interacts with technology for the better. I think technology can be a very impactful force when used for good. Uh, and when you talk about Alexa specifically, I think everybody's aware of kind of Alexa as an AI assistant is one of the biggest ones in the world, and all the great things that you're able to do with Alexa in the home and on the go, like we talked about earlier, whether it's entertainment, smart home, productivity, and so forth. An area that people may not be as aware of is some of the work that's being done around accessibility, and how do you uh, level or equal the playing field in terms of giving equality of experience, regardless of ability or regardless of any physical characteristics or impairments that a person may have. An example of some of the great work that we are doing around accessibility, which is helping people that may have a disability be more connected. A great feature that came out recently is on our Echo show. We have a show and tell feature that allows somebody that's blind to be able to hold a canned good or a box good in front of the camera, and it will tell them what they're holding in their hand audibly. So it allows the blind person that may have a passion for cooking and food preparation to be able to and still enjoy that experience and still be independent of needing somebody there to essentially help them
Wow.
to do that. There's another feature that is called Alexa Care. I think a lot of us have had to deal with it over the last year, uh, where you may be living remotely away from a loved one that's older, whether it's a parent or a grandparent that you care about. Alexa, I think it's called Alexa Guard, allows you to stay connected to those people remotely. So essentially, you can check in on them and make sure that they're okay. If they need help, they can leverage Alexa to either call you for help or call emergency services to come and help. You can even use it to track behavior in the home. Like if you know your grandmother comes down at X o'clock every evening or every morning, if she hasn't showed up on any given day, you can have a setting in there that sends a notification to you that says grandma hasn't come downstairs. I should check in with her and make sure she's okay. Um, so there are many features that like that. I think a lot of times people think about all the fun features that Alexa can do from entertainment and productivity, but there are amazing features like that that are actually having a major impact in people's lives on a daily basis and uh, allowing it to level the playing field, for lack of a better word, allowing people to experience the world in a better way. And so forth. So I think that the technology is just scratching the surface of what it has the potential to become 5, 10, 15 years from now. I think the opportunity to be a part of that and building that now, I think was what kind of drove me to Amazon and Alexa in general.
Amazing. Amazing. And yeah, being at the forefront of these emerging technologies at a big tech company like Amazon, I'm sure that there's also the competitors that are going for, that sort of AI piece of it. But I like how you said the accessibility part, especially the protection of family and to try to just make day-to-day life easier and helpful and to keep everyone safe. And so that's really cool. It's like it's not always finding the cool gadget, but it's how are we gonna really help us in our own personal life at home? I think before you know it, I'm sure you're going to create the R2D2 and have the hologram come out, and that'll be spearheaded by James Namude's product team right there. So definitely keep us on the insight for when the first hologram is accessible to everybody.
It'll be like the Michael B. Jordan Super Bowl ad, right?
Yeah, there you go. The Michael B. Jordan Super Bowl ad. You know where it's getting at. Moving on to my next question. Can you describe how you deal with the expectation of making your parents proud? We already talked about family, but how do you deal with that expectation of making your parents proud with your line of work? What about also making yourself proud? How do you balance the two?
Making my parents proud is I don't think it's a lot of pressure, because I think as long as I'm happy and I'm doing what I'm passionate about, and just being a generally kind of good person, I think my parents will be proud. They kind of built the playbook for us and created the path, and kind of raised us in the right way. And I think they're confident in our ability to go out in the world and do those things. I think most of the pressure, I think, comes from just myself. Like we talked about earlier, just seeing how far my parents came. Like literally being born in a rural village in Africa with no electricity, to my dad becoming one of the directors at the World Bank, and my mom raising 5 kids in a new land. It's inspirational, and it's like it's crazy. Like, it's one of those things where I want to be able to take those blessings that I've been able to have, to be able to have an impact, and really continue that on, and pay it forward down the line. I think one of the things I like to say is, like, sometimes we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and we need to make sure that we're making it count, and really having an impact, because we grew up with a lot of blessings that they may not have had the luxury to have growing up. I really think their generation, my aunts and uncles, have really set our generation of kids up to be successful, and we need to kind of make sure that we carry the torch, and try and have a similar impact for our families and our communities, and so forth. So that's kind of my North Star in terms of kind of what I try and do day-to-day life.
Love it. And, different places, but both of our parents, the immigrant parents, they're built from a different DNA, how hardworking. Like, can you imagine? I said this in another podcast episode, like, you imagine us going to another country and starting our own way of life. I don't know, like, I'll be intimidated, and I'm sure you might as well. And so you spoke about your mom too, and raising a family here. And that's probably why, no matter what we do, as long as they see their kids, including yourself, myself, see a smile on our faces and that we're happy, they've already accomplished what they've wanted. And so, again, the North Star, seeing the parents, what they've done, because they've gone to the moon to make it happen for their kids and their future grandkids and whatnot. And so, how can we replicate that and match that? Sometimes it's like, let's balance our way of thinking. So, maybe we don't know the answer to that yet. That's okay. But definitely love what that North Star is, who we always lean on. Well, exactly. I'm always about the parents, so
yeah, exactly right. I mean, we make a big deal when we're moving from state to state. I can't imagine with 5 kids and going to a new country, across an ocean. Like, things are, it really puts it into perspective.
Moving on to my next question. This is the last question in the set of deeper questions, but has social media affected you mentally when things are stressful at work, or does it motivate you? There's so much content on there. What do you think that does for you mentally?
Yeah. I mean, me personally, my experience with social media has been mostly positive. It's been a means for me to stay connected with the people I care about, even if they may not be in my immediate vicinity, whether it's friends and family here in the United States, or even abroad, back home in Uganda or Europe, or some of those living in other places around the world. I also enjoy seeing other people out there thriving and doing well, because it inspires me as well, right? To be on my same grind, to be able to do well. So it's definitely been a positive impact in my life. But I've also seen the other side of the coin, kind of the dark side of social media and the negative impacts it has on a kind of macro societal level, whether you're talking about oppressive regimes oppressing their own people or utilizing misinformation to impact kind of geopolitical situations around the world.
Yeah.
To even the crazy standard it places on young kids growing up, like young boys and girls, creating standards that are really unattainable. We didn't grow up with social media, right? Like things like Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram. Like, can you imagine going through middle school and elementary school with those things? It really expands your bubble, right? You're not only dealing with the politics of childhood within your ecosystem of the cafeteria and home, right? It goes now.
Yep.
So I definitely see some of the challenges and issues that that kids today have to go through with social media, and it could be dangerous at times. So I do think there are positives and negatives to it. My personal experience has been positive, but I do recognize that there's a negative side of it. So I think it's important that just society in general needs to we need to be able to rally around the positive side of things and make sure that we're holding a lot of these platforms and so forth accountable to be able to do the right thing societally.
Yeah, yeah. The responsibility of being on social media is not also the responsibility of just what you post, but also responsibility of being on it and how you take it in. I mean, a lot of people can say, I can share this sentiment though, that it does also feel motivating to see a friend also doing well and succeeding. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, wow, like that kind of inspires me to go start a podcast or, maybe do a marketing role. Like, oh, they went to IPW. I'm trying to be in marketing too, that sort of thing is like, it resonates. It's definitely contagious in a positive way, in a good way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's also the generational side of things too. It's like that Gen Z is too much on social media, and they're consuming way too much, and they don't know what they want to do as a major in college yet, or they don't know where they want to go. And like, and this is the examples that they're saying, like, oh, a house in the hills, or or something like that. It's like, hold on, pump the brakes really quick, right? And it's okay to just, do something, from, working at a corporate job or just, doing something for the community or doing something local, right? It doesn't have to always be like the pomp and circumstance. So I really, really like how you hit on all of it from, personally for you, the macro standpoint. But I'm telling you, that misinformation part, that is a very complex thing that we're all still trying to, solve.
Yeah.
Some of us know what's what, but also that could affect, older generations to think that, or even like our generation to think like, hey, this just happened. And like, maybe it was just a setup or a stage or, I don't know. Like I watch Homeland. There's also Russian people that set up like fake events, that will just instigate like a whole, everyone to be mad. And so,
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
technology as well. I remember a few months back, somebody sent me this TikTok of a guy that it's like a fake Tom Hanks account where the guy uses like fake graphic technology essentially to create sort of like an on-screen effect way. It looks like it's Tom Hanks talking, but it's not Tom Hanks. It's some guy that's basically using some facial technology to be able to.
Oh, and this is where the world ends right here. Oh my goodness!
Like
Imagine it.
Videos. It's like one of the things. Where technology, it's getting pretty crazy.
Yeah, then before you know it, Kim Jong Un and Joe Biden are gonna be in fake, like videos, and someone recreating them saying stuff. Oh, all right, I'm not gonna even go there. Like, gosh, people are crazy in this world. So
Right.
definitely, we have to be responsible on what we consume on social media, and definitely use our absolute best judgment. Use definitely different sources, make sure we check multiple sources to really validate what we're reading, because again, this world is a crazy place. So.
Yeah, and I think the good thing, part of our generation that's growing up in the social media age and are a bit familiar. So I think part of it too is making sure that you talk to your kids and kind of make sure that you you stay engaged with it and make sure that they're not being negatively impacted about based on what they're seeing and the types of content they're being exposed to and so forth.
Moving on to our last question. If there's one big piece of advice overall you can share with the audience, what would that be? You know this question was coming.
I mean, that's a big question. So I'll probably cheat a little bit on this one. I have multiple pieces of feedback. The first being is mostly like, don't let people like try and convince you not to pursue your dreams or your goals. I think the list of people that will come up to you and say like that's not possible or that's not that can't be done is long. So I think as long as you believe strongly enough in something and a vision, definitely do pursue it. I think once you do pursue it, I would say back from my football days, right? It helps to start with the end in mind, but then from there, focus on the process. The process will ultimately get you to that end goal. Whether it's using a football analogy, whether it's winning the drill, whether it's winning the day, winning the classroom, whatever it is, focus on the process to get you there. And don't forget to celebrate the small milestones because there'll always be a next step. There'll always be the next thing that you need to do. But like we talked about earlier, you need to take a moment to celebrate kind of where you've been, to stop and smell the roses, for lack of a better word, right? Because it's easy to get lost in work and get lost in career and get lost in everything. But the most important thing are those relationships and family and just living life in general. That's something I'm trying to work on, right? Because you get so bogged down at work, it's easy to kind of get lost in all of it. The other one is never take anything for granted. I think we've all seen over the last year, the world could change in an instant. So kind of just to tie to the earlier point, spend time with loved ones and friends and family and so forth, and really create those moments that, like I said earlier, are priceless, and you'll never get those back. So make sure to make time for those things because they're important.
Yeah.
And then lastly, pay it forward. I think everybody always sees the person at the end doing what they love, but millions of people have played a role in getting you there, right? No one achieves success or achieves their goals by themselves. It's important to remember that and to pay it forward to the next generation, whether it's kids and young adults coming up, or it's other people in your field or your industry that want to get to a place where you are, because at some point you were that person. So I think it's important to build that network and help people do the same. So I think that's those are my multiple layers. Rather than one piece of advice, I try to throw a couple in there.
Last question before we sign off, James. You've been to the Kentucky Derby, the Super Bowl, Summer Olympics, like I said in the intro, the Sundance Film Festival. I literally scrolled down your Instagram and I was like, damn, I think I just went to all of these events in one scroll on the Instagram. Like this was fun. Like going through James Namude's Instagram was fun. But I want to ask you, out of all of those milestones, those big events, those notable events, what is your absolute most favorite event of them all?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Sounds like there's a tie, a way tie between a couple of things. Like
there's a couple of them. So the last big trip I took before COVID was Super Bowl in Miami. That was like I've been to Super Bowl in New York and Atlanta. Those are kind of coldish in the winter. Miami was like warm weather. I wasn't working. That was a vacation trip, so I had the whole time to kind of experience and explore with my wife. So we definitely
you turn up.
We had no idea that everything was going to come to a halt. So we were able to get that, and then the Olympics was amazing. I grew up, like my big sports were football, basketball, and track and field. And Usain Bolt I feel like the Michael Jordan of track and field. So being able to see him at the Olympics at the 100-meter dash was definitely one of one of my big bucket list items. And then Beyonce at Coachella was probably the most insane concert I've been at. I say probably those are the top three, but not by a lot. Because I feel like all those experiences have been really, really amazing. So it's hard to really rank those type of things against each other. Like I love traveling too, like trips to India and all those like were amazing experiences in itself. Yeah, it's tough to rank a lot of these against each other.
No landmark music festival on the Washington Mall where Drake took over literally the Washington Mall, man. He freaking raided it with all the degenerates, me and James included.
So honestly, before the Beyonce Coachella one, that Drake landmark music festival performance was the greatest of all time, man.
Yeah, electric. Everyone was there for not the festival; they were there for one person only.
I don't remember the one guy in the crowd that looked just like Drake that was like walking around the crowd and everybody's looking at him like, yo, is that Drake?
Yeah.
Crazy, yeah. That set was it's one of the best I've seen. Like, I wish they did it every year. I don't know why they stopped. He was like a one and done.
They saw all the ratchets by Abe Lincoln on the Lincoln Memorial with all OVO from the 6 T-shirts, and like, we can't be having this in America right now. So
somebody got to bring that back. Somebody has to run that one back.
Yeah. Hey, the energy. It's the difference is that festival, the energy. We were all there again for the same person. So the energy of the crowd. Even Drake was saying, I know they say every festival they go to is like, this is the best crowd. Like literally for me, and I'm sure you agree, that was the most electric crowd. Everyone was hyped. Everyone had energy. It wasn't when third day of Coachella where everyone's tired. This was the first night right here. And we were all had the energy through the roof. Yep.
And you remember, was it like a week or 2 weeks prior, then Drake dropped back to back?
Yeah.
Right in the midst of all that.
Right. He released that song. He trying to make sure he was loud enough so people can hear in Philly over there. You know, I know Obama heard it at the White House, but I'm sure Meek Mill heard it in Philly too. Man, we were voices were. I literally lost my voice.
That was crazy. Stephanie's gonna be in the show in a couple of weeks too, right? So yeah, she was there, so she remembers probably too.
Yeah.
Those are good times, man. Good times.
All right, James. Well, I'm gonna put a closer here for you. Thanks again for coming on to the show. It's an honor to have you on. A man that's accomplished so much in your career, but still have many more mountains to climb over there at Amazon and many more avenues in life, and be an example for other marketing professionals pursuing something similar. We appreciate the time, you taking the time with us. Can't thank you enough, and we hope to have you back sometime again. Maybe a studio sesh down the road whenever you're back out here in LA. I know how we can get it popping and chop it up. But anyhow, thanks again, James, and best of luck as always.
No, for sure. Thank you, man. And don't forget us early guests when you're a superstar on national television with your own late night TV show, right? I'll be glad to come
back then. Oh, man. Stop. For sure.
No, I really appreciate it. It was fantastic, man. What you're doing here is special. And definitely keep going. I think the sky is the limit for you.
All right, everyone. We'll be back in August 11th for our mid-season return episode featuring Kyle Jack, a do-it-all teacher from Woodbridge Senior High School. We will be on hiatus for several weeks to spend time with family this summer. If you're on Apple Podcasts, hit us with the 5 stars and leave us a review. A nice one, please. All right, everyone. Stay safe, smiles up, big laughs, positive energy all around. Thank you all again for tuning in. He's James. I'm James too. See you all in August. James Squared. Out.